The family meets at AFCON. Catch every match in 6 languages with analysis by the continent's biggest stars. Live on SuperSport, only on DSTV.
Surround yourself with success at Regent Business School and graduate with pride to take control of your future.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the AFCON Link Up. This is the only place where we get together, the official family meeting of the AFCON, where we talk everything and anything AFCON. I'm your host, Sama, and even though I put in a request, I don't know why I still have Chewy as a co-host, because this guy is having too much fun in Morocco. You can see that he's smiling ear to ear, but we'll get to that guy. Before we get to Chewy, the problem child of the show, I have to introduce the very special guest that we've got right here. We've got Akin all the way from Nigeria. We've got Man versus John all the way in South Africa. Pitch Invaders from South Africa. Look, at this point, we shouldn't call it the AFCON link up. We should call it the World Cup link up because South Africa is in the building. But it's fine. We'll give Nigeria their time to shine. Let's start with Akin. My brother, how you doing?
Good, bro. I'm good. I'm excited. I'm confident. I know, you had that little jam at us, but hey, the nation's not anymore. We are. So, hey.
Look, man, a little birdie tells me you're putting together a viewing party for the Nigeria game. So it seems like you guys are good, locked and loaded, ready to go. You're confident that Nigeria is going through.
Yeah, exactly. So fans and bands, which is the viewing party, we threw in Nigeria here. Just behind this flag, there's a whole lot of setup going on behind. A lot of Nigerians are going to come through in like an hour or two, basically, to watch us win. I know at the beginning, it felt kind of like after we lost to Congo, the playoffs, belief kind of like went down. But then we started pushing the mantra, make us believe again, make us believe again. And then so far, the Super Eagles have made us believe again. I don't think that's the best. We are the best team in the tournament so far. No disrespect to the other teams, but
I've been hearing a lot of that chat, and you guys are rubbing us the wrong way because we've been hearing a lot of this. We're the best team in the tournament, this, that, and the other. But it's fine.
Really, show us any other. Which other team, really? No, because let me tell you something. When we started our watch parties, the first game, everybody was a bit hesitant. But now today, belief is sky high. This place is going to be packed in like 2 hours with Nigerians demanding a win, which is going to happen by the way. So all good, all good.
Look, I'm. If anything, I'm here for the tears more than I am to support Nigeria. And I know the one person who's got my back on this, Man versus John, bro. Look, you made it clear. You're not here to buy anyone's face. You're not here because people are celebrating when we got knocked out. So exactly. You're not buying any story of supporting Nigeria.
I'm not buying no story of supporting Nigeria. When we got knocked out, remember how loud they were. They're still laughing at us right now. So I'm not backing down. Cameroon, Ghana, South Africa, we're all together against Nigeria. Today we hate watch Nigeria. We are minyaring tonight.
Look, I have to, get the consensus here because we've got Pitch Invaders as well on the call. Emilio, I need to get your weigh in on this. Are you agreeing that, look, it's anti-Nigeria today, or are you saying, look, football is the winner today? What's your stance on this?
Yo, shout out, Lemmy. Look, I'm going to surprise a lot of people here, right? And I'm going to say this. Today, I'm actually back in Nigeria. I'm back in Nigeria, even though Bafana
wow.
South African. It's because there's a vision. There's a vision to it. And I think long term, let these guys have more hope, man. Look at Chewy. No offense to Akin, but look at Chewy, man. Let Chewy be happy. Let him get to the semifinals, maybe even the final.
Yeah.
The heartbreak can be even more, man. That's what I want to see.
No, I got you, bro. And last but not least is Chewy. Chewy, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. We know we have to let you go right now. Look, he's even on mute. He's not
Lemmy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas, it's your boy Chewy Chews, and I'm speaking live from rarefied air. Morocco. One team will catch a flight to the semifinals. If you can guess, that one team will not be South Africa. Manny, I think you're speaking. You're not buying the story of Nigeria going back. Well, it's because you cannot afford it.
Wow.
You can't buy your way to the next round, my guys. And I'm here in the stadium. That's the next of we give you the nice view. Look around. Look around. Let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. Look around.
You see?
I didn't see South Africans here. I see Algerians. I see the meat. We're speaking.
You see, this is Akin. This is I have to remind you, Akin. This is why. This is why. This is why.
What's up?
Behind my brother, you can't express this right now. Like, look at
You
him.
don't know what it feels
Okay.
like.
Look at him.
Okay.
I'm going to get behind my brother.
Okay, let's start there. Now that we're talking Nigeria, right? Because we're here
Yeah.
now, let's talk Nigeria. Because the big question is who's going home with that 10 million USD? Who's winning this tournament? Akin, you mentioned earlier that you guys arguably have the best team, right? But we've seen what seems to be like the biggest talking point right now. We all know the Osimhen versus Lookman disagreement on the pitch, and generally things like this cause a bit of, instability in the change room, and essentially we see that playing out, on the field. Do you think you guys have worked past that? Because from what we see from a standpoint, I won't lie, it seems like Osimhen is, he's being a diva. He wants all the balls. We can only decipher. And the funny thing is, I had an interview yesterday with Daniel Akpe. He's a former Super Eagles, and he also played a lot of his football here in SA. And I asked him, like, what does he think of that, right? And his take was that there's always this one person in the team who's just a little bit more passionate than everybody else. But not all of us interpret it as being passionate. We might think, he's being a diva, he's your star boy right now, Yeah. What's going on with that Osimhen and Lookman incident? Do you guys have any idea? Did it upset the Nigerian fans? Do you think it's not going to affect you guys going into this game against Algeria?
I understand that. I understand all the hula balloon around all of this. But let's be honest. I'm sure you play football. You play your football on Saturdays. I just finished playing football right now. Chewy plays with me on Saturdays as well. This happens. This normal football stuff.
He doesn't play football. He's not very good at it. He doesn't play football.
No, really, this is basic football stuff. Yes, it might be interpreted as going overboard, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, the focus is winning the AFCON right now. Osimhen and Lookman have got the best partnership in the AFCON right now too, as well, if I might say. So they're just going to put this behind them. Even I don't know if you listen to Mikel's podcast as well. These things happen, especially when teams are hungry to win. That's the mark of champions or competitors. So for me, it's just these things happen. But let's just put it beside us or behind us right now. But I predict again. No, I won't predict. Just watch. Lookman might actually give Osimhen on that assist or vice versa.
I'm going to cut in here. Yeah. I'm not going to say all the things I know, but I will tell you guys that it's a misunderstanding. I was at the Eagles training camp yesterday. I watched them train. It really is not distracting them. Everything you want to talk about, the fight, it was just really passion, and it was a misunderstanding. The boys are good. I'll tell you for a fact. I did see Osimhen recently after the thing. I promise you they are not distracted. And the other thing they're talking about, the payments and the match bonuses.
No, that's a real topic. That was going to be my next question, because it seems like you guys need this 10 million USD. You know what I'm saying? You guys it's like you need it.
Play in the biggest leagues in the world. The Nigerian players play in the biggest leagues in the world. I promise you the boys are good. I know they needed to spend some of that money to their dependents in South Africa and other teams that didn't make the AFCON so they can subscribe for the DSTV to watch them win this AFCON. That really was it. I promise you the boys are good. They're very focused, and it's nothing. Like,
you know what? I want to bring in. Now that you're dragging us into your drama, I want to bring in the SA boys on this one. There's this talks about the Nigeria. Now Chewy is saying confidently that there's nothing happening. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's happy. Everybody's confident. But we know what problems with payments does to players. The fact that the team threatened to boycott says a lot. We can't look over the fact that these guys also threatened to boycott, because if their primary focus was on winning the tournament, they would deal with this afterwards, right? Let me bring in Pitch Invaders here. what does this do to a team and to their opponents, of course? Because Algeria is probably sitting there watching and saying, look, these guys, there's a whole halabaluga about the fight on the pitch and unpaid bonuses. And, Chewy is saying, look, we're cruising nicely here. But what does that do for a team going into a quarterfinal with a strong opponent like Algeria? Because they've only conceded once. What does that do, bro?
Dude, thank you for asking that, man. I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see, firstly, let me just say that I would love to see the opinion from Chewy, especially, Akin as well, if Nigeria don't win this AFCON. Because at the moment, this whole...
No, you mean when? You mean when they don't win it?
Yeah, when. Thank you for the correction.
That's what's going to happen, when they don't win it.
What is the opinion going to be on the whole Victor Osimhen situation with Lukman as well, and this whole payments issue, right? On the payments issue, to answer your question, I have to give credit to Ndidi. I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but I think Ndidi actually had some sort of arrangement with the federation to actually pay the bonuses for the time being, right? As you mentioned, like, let's focus on the football, let's focus on the match. So Ndidi, the Nigerian captain, actually paid the bonuses, and then obviously after the AFCON, we'll sort out whatever needs to be.
He's not getting a cent back, bro. He can forget about that, man. He's not getting anything back.
For sure. But I give credit to him, no? That's a real captain. But I think going into the match, like Akin said as well, like, that's how football is, right? But it's going to be in the back of the mind of the players. I think in the match, what's to say it's not going to happen again? What's to say that Lukman could have laid off the ball for Victor Osimhen, chooses not to, ball goes wide, and Osimhen gets upset? I mean, Chewy's kind of downplaying it. Osimhen wanted to actually walk off the pitch as well. I think the Nigerian coach wanted him to come off and be substituted, or he asked to be substituted himself. I just feel like the same situation can happen in the quarterfinal matchup, in a semi-final matchup, and in a final. So I think they've got a long way to go, and I would just love to see the opinion when they don't win the AFCON. Do they then turn their backs on Victor Osimhen? Does Victor Osimhen throw his toes at the court? All of that, which I think will happen.
Oh, you said when. You said when. Why do you say when?
I want to bring in Men versus John here. Bro, another big question here is that there's all of this happening, right? And we're barely getting any comments or any reactions from Coach Eric. He's coming into this AFCON trying to redeem himself. We all have that meme where they're pouring water over him. Like, that's the talk of the town for every Nigerian match. But why, let me phrase it this way. What is the lack of the coach's comments and actions against something like that? Because yes, we're talking about Lukman and and Osimhen going at it, but there's no point where he went to the post-match interview and he said, no, it's been squashed, it's fine and whatever. It seems like he was brushing it under the carpet as if he doesn't have control over the situation, right? This then leads us to think that there's going to be more excuses after going into, if and when, let's say when, let's stick to when Nigeria doesn't make it to the final, there's going to be more excuses. And like, does the coach have control over the situation from where we sit as fans? Do you think, he's got a lot more work to do going into the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, I think he that's his way of getting control of the situation. It's this whole thing about when there's a fire, you try to deprive it of as much oxygen as possible. So him not talking about it is also his way of trying to kill that fire. He knows very well the real situation, what's happening behind the scenes. He'll see whether or not Lukman and Osimhen sit next to each other in breakfast, if they actually do passes to each other in the trainings, etc. So I think it's his way of not making too much more of a story than it actually is. But over the years, you would have seen that in a lot of these high-performing teams, sometimes some of the egos come out, but it doesn't mean that they're still not able to perform at the highest level. I was listening a couple of weeks ago about one of the former France 98 players that was saying that in France 98 there was a lot of factions and a lot of the teammates actually didn't like each other or hated each other, but they were still able to come together and win that France 98. So it happens more often than you think. Unfortunately, especially in football, where sometimes, where you're playing and you also are thinking about your own, glory and things that could come of it. And sometimes that leads to clashes, etc. But at the end of the day, they need to just come together and perform as the Super Eagles, because the country is also expecting them to do well. I was hearing people talking about how this is their World Cup and they need to perform well, and they need to consistently continue to perform well. And I really expect them to beat this Algeria team and then go to the semifinals, and then let's see what happens in the semifinals.
John, I'm going to pop in here real quick, right? I like that you expect us to beat these Algerians, those ones over there. We're going to beat them, right? But I think it's one of those things where you say it's these kids of nowadays. You are right, John. The old heads, they used to fight all the time. I'm hearing stories like they'd have crazy locker rooms, like flashes, bashes, punches and flying. But they did it in secrecy. And I think that's the one thing I will fault the boys for not doing, for not handling things well. But honestly, again, I can't give away too much. But I did see the post yesterday multiple times. I did see him prior.
Give it away, bro. This is the end of your journey. Just give it away now, bro. Give it away now. We want to know.
You would see the energy of the coach. If you're around the journalist, you're looking like you're trying to snitch. You're looking for the scoop. It really wasn't that. Eric Shaw was cool. He was calm and selective. My man was chilling. Shaw was chilling. I promise you that it's not that big of a deal. Yes, things happen, but the voice is good. I think the body language, Osimhen is somebody who's very passionate. He doesn't hide his emotion.
Yeah.
So again, the recent times I've seen him after the thing.
Sorry, I just have to track back. I think we lost you there, but I have to track back and just officially welcome John there. He came in like a sliding tackle from Wan-Bissaka there. You know what I mean? But shout out to John. We've got John on the panel with us here. So we've got two Johns. I'm gonna be very specific when I refer to you guys. Men versus John, and John from France, aka Cote d'Ivoire, aka Senegal, aka he's very multi-talented with these nationalities. But before we move on,
the liquid man.
The liquid man. I love that. Men versus John, I want to hear your thoughts on this Nigerian team and, their chances on actually advancing and, moving past all of this pressure and the noise that's coming at them at this point.
Now, I think Nigeria's got a very, very good chance of moving forward. They've got a good team, and you've seen the last two games how they've actually come together, besides Osimhen with the whole debacle, but they've actually come together now and playing as a whole unit. Like previously in the other show, I said, first game, they were playing like individuals, so it wasn't gelling. But now that they've come together, you see what kind of scores they're putting up. But going back once, I understand the coach not saying anything, because at the end of the day, you've got to protect your players. So in the media, you've got to squash it, but behind the closed doors, that's where you got to sort it out. But I don't think it should be an issue moving forward, because in football, when you play, you need that one player to shake things up, to wake everyone up, to know that we are to win and we are to obviously play well. So I don't blame Osimhen, but yes, he can take it a bit too far. But like Chewy said, it's passion, and I understand Osimhen's taking on that.
Look, on that note, we have to talk about their opponents, Nigeria, right? Because Algeria. Because we're talking about this team that is so strong and that is, looking like the favorite. We know you're thinking about us. We know you love us. I need admin to remove Chewy. If anything, I need Nigeria to lose so Chewy can go back home. That's my only wish for this outcome. But anyway, speaking of their opponents, Algeria, they've got a goalkeeper who's in perfect form right now, who insists that he's not distracted by his family, by his famous family name, but Algeria also go into this with a lot of pressure, facing this very, and don't quote me on this, guys. No, I hope nobody's screen recording this. This very dominant Nigerian team. That is very, very, lethal in the front. You've got your Osimhen, you've got your Lookman. That combo is very dangerous, But they also have shown, the goalkeeper has a perfect record, which means that, the defense itself is also helping him keep a perfect record. So that's something for Nigeria to consider. It's a tall order for Algeria, but we all know that they're capable of this. I want to start with Akin and get your thoughts, because obviously Nigeria would have had to do their homework. They know that they know. If anything, I would even say, this one you can quote me on. I would even say Nigeria had a relatively easy route to this point, right? Because before this, they had Mozambique, which we knew who the stronger team was going into that fixture. In their group, they had the likes of Tanzania. Who else? I think they were the strongest team in that group. Now they're facing an opponent that's just as hungry, just has kept a good record. You guys saying Nigeria are the top scorers of the tournament. Here's a team that hasn't conceded in the tournament, conceded one at most, So, Akin, what are your thoughts going into this fixture? Do you think you finally found your match, or do you think it's going to be another walk in the park for Nigeria?
I think in football, you have to beat what is in front of you. Really. I think that's the basic thing, I wouldn't say our group was easy. We played well and then we qualified, really. I know the first true test I expected was supposed to be Tunisia, but, we saw what happened to them, around the tournament as well. But it's going to be a test, there's no, dancing around it. Algeria is a solid team, got a main defense too as well. But we've got the best attack. So it's almost like the best attack against, one of the best defenses in the tournament as well. So it's going to be an intriguing game as well. I think for me, it's about how do we control the intensity. I watched the Moroccan game against Cameroon yesterday, and I saw them simply blow Cameroon out of the water with their intensity, with their pressing and all of that. So it's about Nigeria now. Algeria might attempt something similar as well. How do we control the pace of the game? How do we dictate the pace of the game? Is very important as well. I know there's this old Osimhen and Lukman's Ulabalu, but then there's Iwobi as well. Also constantly also delivering. We've got Akko, so we've got like the best attack in the tournament. And why? Because we've been dynamic about it. Can Algeria undo that as well? Have they faced a dynamic attack like ours? So it's going to be intriguing. I still feel very confident. If we can put all the drama beside us or behind us, rather, I think we should be able to, to win this because we've got a lot of dynamism in our attack. We've got Iwobi purring as well. Our defense as well has not been too shabby. I know, yes, we considered a couple of goals that we should have, but I think if we can put all of that behind us. No quarterfinal game is actually easy as well. We are in the stage of the tournament where you snooze, you lose. So it's about who's going to take, responsibility, who is going to impose themselves on the match. If we can do that quick and early, getting up goals, then we are in for a trailer today as well. Tonight.
I saw Man vs. John shaking his head there. He doesn't seem impressed at all. Man vs. John, I want to get your comment before we go to the break. Talk to me, bro. You don't seem convinced at all here. No,
I'm not convinced at all because Algeria also haven't been tested coming along. Because remember, they played Equatorial Guinea, Sudan. Maybe the only test was as a Burkina Faso in the same group. Yeah, that was probably their only test. And then Congo. And they haven't been really tested as well, Algeria. So this is going to be interesting to see between the two, the Algeria derby, who comes out on top. But and even looking at the last game, Algeria also weren't that convincing. So I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen here. But I'm hoping Algeria can pull it off. That's what I'm going to say.
Interesting times. Chewie's having a party there, hey?
At this point in time, we need to go to a break. You need to listen to the music in the stadium. The energy is jumping, South Africa. Wish you could be here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break. It's the AFCON later. Hey, Tom. I like to move it.
Surprise!
Highball. For every highball, there's a quick fix from Cash Crusaders. Use your valuables to get a flexible 30-day loan. With the option to extend up to 5 times, you have more time. And when you pay it back, you get your goods back. Enjoy the good surprises in life with Cash Crusaders. Your favorite place to buy, sell, and get a loan.
Surround yourself with success at Region Business School and experience the supportive learning environment to make your dreams a reality.
Earn up to 7.35% interest and keep your money agile with the Nedbank Just Invest account. Pay no monthly fees or commission. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app. Get money fit with Nedbank.
In the heart of every champion lies a journey, one of resilience, passion, and dedication. It's a journey that starts as a dream and is fueled by ambition. A journey made of the relentless pursuit of greatness. And greatness isn't given, it's earned. With every challenge, goal, and celebration, it's a journey that inspires generations. And one that proves that we are made of more. 10Bet, official betting partner of Bafana Bafana.
Welcome back to the AFCON Link Up, the official family meeting for AFCON, where we talk everything and anything AFCON. And the big talk is who is going home with that $10 million. I think we've established that, Nigeria needed because of those bonuses that are outstanding, but it's not my place. Hey, it's not my place. It's not my place.
I'll tell you who's not going home with this. South Africa is not going home with it. South Africa went home with their backpack, taking a beat.
Okay, Chewy, I'm sorry. I'm gonna. And what's 10 million there in Nigeria? There's like 100. You got Mark Zuckerberg's bank account if you guys win this one, eh?
My G, we've got a lot of resources. We've got a lot of AFCON titles. We've got a lot of AFCON appearances. We've got a lot of fans in Morocco. You've got nothing.
You know what? We love to hate on Nigeria, but you know what? It's all love at the end of the time. It's the official family meeting right here on the AFCON Link Up. We welcome DK, who's very well known on the social media streets in terms of her opinionated views of the sports world. DK, other than the fact that Bafana Bafana is out of this one, how have you been finding this tournament so far?
Look, AFCON has always been AFCON, right? The unpredictable happens. The teams that we feel like are the dark horses always end up either, entertaining us thoroughly, or maybe even the big teams just showing up as they've always done, If you look at all the teams that have gone through to the quarterfinals, if it's literally AFCON giants. So I'm not even shocked compared to the last AFCON where we had, some underrated national teams going all the way. This time around, the big boys are showing us who the big boys are. And I'm not going to lie, even though Bafana are out, it has been thoroughly entertaining. And I can't complain.
Now, look, speaking of giants, we've got Senegal, who've won it as early as 2021. And the question here is Sadio Mane doing enough for the Senegal team? Or a part of me feels like they're barely getting through this tournament. They do have a very strong team. They do put on good performances. But the scoreline against Mali, for example, I remember I was at studio and Andrew, who's anchoring the build-ups right now, he had said to me confidently, we're going to see at least 3 goals in that matchup. But we only saw 1. Is it a matter of them pulling back their punches, or are we generally not seeing the best version of Senegal in this tournament?
I think if I were to summarize African football in general, right, it's all about just getting the job done, whether the score is 1-0 or 3-0. And I feel like what Senegal have been able to do from the group stages up until now, whether the football has been great or not, is to get the job done, because it is, in essence, tournament football. So, of course, we aren't seeing a Senegal that is as very punchy, the Senegal that we all know, right? I was expecting your Nicholas Jackson as well, including your Sadio Mane to be up there in terms of our top goal scorers alongside the Nigerian
Nicholas Jackson,
players.
for real. Do you guys believe in Nicholas Jackson?
For Senegal, yes. For Senegal, let's not lie. For Senegal, he does tend to show up. But what I can commend Senegal on is they really do know how to get the job done. I will say, I'm not the type to say, just because you got a red card, you were one man up, you kind of were at an advantage. But that game against Mali, if Mali still had 11 men going into the second half as well, I feel like it could have ended 1-1. We could have seen it go the extra mile, So what we saw yesterday wasn't the best of Senegal, but at the end of the day, what did they do? They got the job done.
No, 100%. I want to apologize right now to Men versus John, because he's a staunch Chelsea supporter. And, I've said some things about his team. that might have not landed well. But I mean, Nicholas Jackson, to be quite honest, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Didn't do well at Chelsea, you know, moved on and Chelsea started doing a little bit better. Man versus John, you know, I apologize in advance for talking about your Chelsea team, but that's a story for another day. Tell me
I'm
about
a Chelsea fan too, by the way. Tread carefully. Tread carefully.
I surrender, guys. I surrender. I surrender. Man versus John, talk to me about the Senegal team. Do they have any hopes of advancing any further, given what we've seen so far?
I think Senegal probably would take the whole thing. I think Senegal won AFCON because you can see no one is speaking about Senegal because it's expected of them to perform well. So that's why they've just gone under the radar, just winning, and no one's speaking about them because it's expected. We expected to see Senegal in the final because they are one of the top 10 teams in Africa. So it's no surprise that they're making it this far. And Sadio Mane doesn't need to do much anymore because the youngsters are there to carry the team through.
True. There's a solid midfield in that team.
Exactly. There's a solid base. He's there. He's just the leader, filling in when he needs to be, and he's carrying the team. So I think Senegal could actually take the whole thing. If no one's awake or careful, the Senegal's taking this trophy.
Now, you're talking about them making it all the way to the final. Another team that is probably getting all the votes of making it to the final is Morocco, the hosts themselves. They've been so dominant. They hold the top goal scorer in Brahim Diaz. You know, I was of the opinion that, you know what, I generally didn't like the idea of Brahim Diaz going to that Morocco team because it feels like these stars in other leagues, when they don't make it in their preferred countries, they then come to Africa, you know, like Nomain Bozayam, and then they come in, they get some game time in Africa. I want to throw this one to John. Morocco has been very convincing in their wins. I'm convinced that Brahim Diaz, obviously in hindsight, after seeing his performance, that Brahim Diaz could take player of the tournament. And they've got home ground advantage. We saw it in that last game against, it was Cameroon, I believe. And it was pretty much packed with Moroccan fans. John, what are your thoughts about these guys using that home advantage to make it all the way, not only just to the final, but actually winning this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, we had this conversation about Morocco before the tournament
100%.
started, and I was telling you that the thing about hosting an AFCON or any kind of tournament is that you can either succumb to the pressure from the fans or you can use it to push on, and they've been able to do that. They've been able to use the pressure, use the high expectations to be able to push on and know that whatever happens, even if they're feeling a bit tired, you know, the fans are going to spur them on. And I really, you know, would commend the coach Regragui for also finding the right winning formula, because if you remember, when they made it to the semifinals of the World Cup, they were much more defensive and they were more of a counter-attacking team. And people were waiting for them at the last AFCON, and they seemed to have struggled. But he has found a way to play differently, to be able to either be on the front foot with, you know, Diaz, with some of the other players, Al-Kaabi, but also be able to soak up some of the pressure and then also hit on the counterattack. So it's a much more balanced team, and a team that knows that, yes, there are really high expectations from the national team, from the fans, but they need to continue to perform at the highest level.
Chewy went quiet after we said Senegal-Morocco final. What's going on there, Chewy? I don't see the dance anymore. Did they cut the music there in the stadium, brother? What's going on? You see, they cut the music and his network. I think we might have lost Chewy there, but I wanna throw it back to DK, right? The host nation has one big advantage here, which is obviously the home ground advantage. I think I was shocked. I mean, going back to how packed it was with Moroccan fans against that Cameroon, in that game against Cameroon, how tough is it going to be for any opponent of Morocco to then come and try and, you know, block out all that noise? Other than the fact that the Moroccan team is actually pretty good, it's actually very strong right now. How tough is it going to be for opponents facing Morocco to kind of overcome that hurdle?
It's gonna be very tough because in addition to the home ground advantage, Morocco have been playing in the same stadium since the group stages, the round of
100%.
16, the quarterfinals. They went through to the semifinals. They will be playing in that very same stadium as well. And if they go through to the finals, they will be playing in the very same stadium. So that is a very huge advantage for them. But we also do need to take into consideration rather that the Morocco in this AFCON compared to the Morocco in the previous AFCON are two very different teams. The
True.
quality in the defense, in the midfield, in the attack is honestly mind-blowing. And it also shocked me to see Brahim Diaz coming back for Morocco.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's having the time of his life. He's getting all the support he needs. He's getting in the goals, the assists. He fits in like a glove as if he was playing for Morocco for ages. So any team that is to face Morocco is going to be up against a huge mountain. So, you know, when John said Senegal could go all the way, hey, there's still Morocco. There's still Morocco.
Look, I don't want to be controversial or anything, but what is AFCON link up without a little bit of controversy, right? So there's been a lot of talk about how there's too many calls going in Moroccans' favor, like as if this is already scripted. And I see Man versus John nodding very vigorously there. So I have to hear your thoughts here, bro. So, I mean, look, we've spoken about this. I think John can attest to this. We've spoken about how AFCON in 2023 was praised for its great use of VAR and how referees weren't, scared to kind of go against VAR when they were called to the screen and say, hey, that's too soft. I'm not going to give a penalty for that. This time around, we're seeing a lot of controversial calls. There was the Cameroon game where we were convinced that that's a penalty against Brian Mbeumo. But it was not even, I don't think it was even looked at VAR. Bro, talk to me. What do you think about, the difference in standard or the inconsistency, rather, that we're seeing at this AFCON? And do you think there is a little bit of favor swinging Morocco's way?
I think there is a little bit of favor swinging Morocco's way, but I don't know if that's the fans, the 12th man, or whatever's going on behind the scenes, because there's a few things. There was the Mbeumo tackle. There was the one where the Moroccan guy swung his arm, which was a red card, supposed to going off. There was a few more incidents, and then while I was watching the game, it actually upset me to see this going on. And VAR said nothing. No one looked at it. The commentator spoke about it a little bit, but then they just also paused and the game moves forward. And it's like, what? They didn't even consult VAR to check or anything. Yeah. So it's a little bit suspicious, but I don't want to say too much on that topic. But yeah, it is a little bit odd what's going on with all the decisions. It is very, very odd.
John, I want to get your thoughts on this, bro. What's AFCON or what's any kind of football tournament without a little bit of controversy? Are we a little bit too much in our feelings here, or do you think there's a little bit of inconsistency with these calls?
There is some inconsistency with the calls, but I don't think it's only for Morocco. It's happened in other times where, there was some calls that were weird calls. There were some calls that should have been calls. There were sort of calls that should have gone to VAR, and it doesn't seem like they've been consistent with the kinds of calls that they've been able to be made. Like you mentioned earlier, the AFCON 2023, it seemed like we had cracked the code of VAR, but this time it seems like we're going back to what we used to have before. And it's unfortunate because at the end of the day, we want to talk about AFCON and talk about the positive things. We want to talk about the guy who was, standing there for 90 minutes, trying to 100%. Represent Lumumba. We want to talk about the fans. We want to talk about the content and the memes, the Eric Shell memes that are uploading, that are coming when they get kicked out. We want to talk about those kinds of things, but it's unfortunate that what we've been talking about of late have been the inconsistent calls from the referees. And hopefully, for the rest of the matches that we see in this round and in the upcoming rounds, there's not going to be any controversial calls that will make us think, maybe there's something weird that's happening now.
No, 100%, bro. Look,
vibe vibes are absolutely electric here at Tiger's Milk. We are in Umhlanga, out in KZN, and of course we've all come together for the quarter-final action from Cameroon taking on Morocco this evening. It is a full house, and of course our good friends from 10Bet are hosting us, and what an absolutely incredible vibe it is. The fans are here, and I'm chilling with Sachin right now, who's come out with some of his friends, and I want to find out from you, Sachin, this evening, who are you backing for the win?
Definitely going to be backing Morocco this evening. Yeah.
Why Morocco in particular?
Well, I've been watching their games, and I believe Brahim Diaz has been performing really well. He's definitely been the catalyst to their good performance recently, and I think they're going to do really well tonight against Cameroon.
That is a good choice of a player. Now, quickly, before I let you go, back to your friends and have fun, what do you think the score is going to look like this evening?
I'm going to go for 3-0 Morocco.
3-0 Morocco is a very, very brave prediction. I know that you're really excited that Morocco came through with the win. Tell me, do you think they can make it all the way to the finish line and take the AFCON to the north of Africa?
Absolutely. I mean, they're the hosting country. They have the fan following. It would be such an amazing moment for them to win it with their fans right there with them.
Okay, like we finally AFCON. Sizobona Morocco iqhudelana neyiphi team?
Mingadlalanga neSenegal, Morocco zoyithatha. Avoid Senegal because Senegal is so good. Like Morocco, like Senegal. The way they play so. Banokuyithemba neconfidence nayo yonke into. Bane-culture yebhola banayo yonke into efunakala ebholeni lase-Africa. But iMorocco yona team engiprefer ukuthi ingapresenta right, even nama-World Cup yenza kahle, and yona team ekwaziyo kungaye ukuthi so prefer Nigeria and plus abantu abaphuma ku last 32 last 16 in Morocco last time it last 4. I prefer to win even in the right nayo as nathi singajabula sama-Africa.
Nizweleke amapansula jabulile kumnandi la eDubane. 2-0 is how it ended. Morocco are moving through to the semi-finals. Who will make it to the finals? We'll have to wait and see.
Earn up to 7.35% interest and keep your money agile with the Nedbank Just Invest account. Pay no monthly fees or commission. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app. Get money fit with Nedbank.
In the heart of every champion lies a journey, one of resilience, passion, and dedication. It's a journey that starts as a dream and is fueled by ambition. A journey made of the relentless pursuit of greatness. And greatness isn't given, it's earned. With every challenge, goal, and celebration, it's a journey that inspires generations. And one that proves that we are made of more. 10Bet, official betting partner of Bafana Bafana.
And welcome back to AFCON Link Up, the official family meeting. I am Judge Lemilo Kontozemnandintozesama, and we are entering into a very serious part of this conversation. Two topics that I hold very dear to my heart. One is the fact that Egypt is still in this tournament after cheating us from a penalty call. So everybody needs to be very wary of their comments, or else you'll be kicked out of my court. Second of all, Ivory Coast, by some odd reason, is still holding Amad Diallo hostage because we need him at Manchester United, but he's still, granted, we love AFCON. We want to see this great competition be great. So before we go into those topics, John, you mentioned something that has been a big talk of the town in the past couple of days, which is Amora's celebration to, the fan that was dressed as Patrice Lumumba. It was a two-sided coin, right? One side is, look, it's football, it's banter, and maybe he didn't have an idea of, who Patrice Lumumba is, which ironically enough, the searches on Google for Patrice Lumumba went up by 800%, meaning a lot of people might have not known who Patrice Lumumba is. But the other side of the coin is, how do we then cross that line as football lovers where we then mock an African hero like Patrice Lumumba? What were your thoughts, or how do you weigh in on something like that? Are we being too harsh on Amora for that celebration, or did he cross the line with that celebration?
So, funny enough, when I saw it, I didn't really think that it was too much of a controversy. Yes, it's unfortunate that that happened, but I thought it was one of those things where, there's a little bit of banter, kind of like how we like to make fun of Nigeria and their inconsistencies in AFCON in the last couple of AFCONs. It was the same kind of spirit, and I do understand how it was perceived, and how in the end, the Algerian national team and the various members ended up apologizing. And I think that this fan has become such a beloved figure that, taking a shot at him was never going to end well, especially that I did see what happened with the Algerian player, but I didn't see that the guy who was impersonating Patrice Lumumba had cried after the Congolese team had gone out. So there's a lot of context that went into it. And, at the end of the day, we want to be able to talk about these stories. And it's such a fantastic story. The guy has been basically catapulted to become a super fan everywhere. I saw that he took some pictures with the president of CAF, and he's everywhere. And I think he also was offered the opportunity to stay until the end of the AFCON and get paid for it. So that's the kind of story you want to hear. It's unfortunate, what happened with the Algerian guys, but I think that, we should move on and pray and cross fingers that the Super Eagles are able to kick out this Algeria team.
Now, on that note, John, I want to speak Cote d'Ivoire a little bit. They've got a tough task ahead of them, but they've been absolutely fantastic in this tournament. They've shown that, I'll be the first to admit, I was one of the people who thought, Cote d'Ivoire kind of won that AFCON by some luck, some home ground advantage luck. But you see the consistency in the team's performance in this AFCON, and you can't help but think that they've got an actual real chance, despite the fact that, I really want Egypt to be knocked out of this tournament because of my experiences with my team. But it's very impressive. It's very impressive seeing this Cote d'Ivoire team performing so much. Guys like Amad Diallo standing up, because he's in top 3 of top goal scorers. He's currently on 3 goals or something.
On 3 goals, yeah. On assist.
Yeah. So realistically speaking, with everything considered, what are Cote d'Ivoire's chances of doing a double in this AFCON, winning it again, and saying, look, we're here and we're here to stay?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to do a back-to-back. The last time that was done was by an Egypt team. So it'd be funny it would be ironic if they do end up beating Egypt and then going all the way and winning that 4th title. But I think from the beginning, we weren't sure which Ivorian team would show up. Yes, they came in with all that cool swagger when they came into AFCON, the way that they were dressed, etc. But we didn't know, because they had lost some key players. Sebastian Haller got injured the match just before the call-up. And so we weren't sure what was going to happen. And then, I remember seeing this Gabon match, and they were down 2-0, and I said to myself, not again. They played well in the first 2 matches, and then they're going to lose that 3rd match. But they showed that they took the experience from the last AFCON and all the matches that they've played ever since then to have a real fight back spirit, and were able to win 3-0, 3-2, so come back and win 3-2, and then the last match winning 3-0. And the way that they played from the onset, attacking this Burkina Faso team, I said to myself, okay, there really is hope for them to be able to go all the way. But there's still some very, very tough teams to go against. And I'll be rooting for them, but I think it's going to be a very, very difficult task. They need to, first of all, beat the team in front of them, so Egypt, and then see where they end up. And once you're in the semifinal, you're just a couple games away from winning it. So I'll be rooting for them, but it's going to be very, very difficult for them to retain the title.
Something is burning Chewy there. He keeps standing up and sitting down, and he's flipping his camera. And Chewy, are you right there, my brother?
And right here on the stadium, the DJ is DJing. I promise you, It's a great moment over here. I see my friend from South Africa. I see my friend from Zambia. You couldn't be here. This is what you're missing. My friends. Boom. Hello.
Wow. Wow.
Come
Well,
on, let's
Chewy's
talk
having
to
a
her.
blast
How you
on that
doing?
side.
Christina, how are you?
Joey, I hope that's not your last AFCON. I really hope you
No,
make
it is. Trust me, Christina, it is. We've done all the voodoo we need to do as a collective, as Africa. So it is their last AFCON. But welcome to the AFCON link up. We want to hear your thoughts. Look, we've spoken Cote d'Ivoire. I want to hear Egypt. What are your thoughts on Egypt's chances? You know, because at the start of this tournament, there was a lot of drama surrounding Mohamed Salah and, you know, that Liverpool drama. And the fact that he doesn't really show up the way he should when it comes to an AFCON tournament. But he's slowly but surely it seems like he's getting there in this tournament. Let's talk Egypt. Facing this Cote d'Ivoire team, do you think they've got what it takes? Is it going to be as easy for them, or is this going to be a big ask?
Can I tell you something? I was checking online, and
Yeah.
funny enough, someone said they checked ChatGPT to check which teams would make it out of the AFCON. And Egypt went all the way to the final to face who? Chewy's team, Nigeria.
Oh, no. That person didn't pay their subscription for ChatGPT or whatever AI they were using, so clearly that was the wrong prediction.
I'm telling
we know that
you.
Chewy is going home. But do you think Mohamed Salah has been bringing what it... You know, because, look, we spoke about this earlier, about guys like Brahim Diaz coming and, you know, it's like, oh, look, you just came here because you want some game time in a big tournament. And to a certain extent, sometimes I feel like somebody like a Mohamed Salah doesn't give it his all because he's thinking, hey, I still need to go back to Liverpool. If I get injured here or anything serious happens, what is his role in this Egyptian team that needs to beat such a confident Cote d'Ivoire team?
Sometimes with players, it's just their presence in the team that actually builds confidence in other players. We've seen so many players in other teams that possibly, even if they didn't play the most, but just them being there actually helps build confidence in the entire team, and they're able to actually play the way they play. Just knowing that, oh, this guy is here, I think we could be able to do it. But for Salah, I think with what is happening at Liverpool, he needed to give his best at this AFCON so he could have something else to talk about besides what has been happening with him at his parent club. But in this case with Cote d'Ivoire, very tough game. But I think both teams have what it takes to be able to just give this game the juice that we actually need from it. And we're hoping for the best from him. But otherwise, for Salah, I really wish he brought more this time around to make sure that we have something else to talk about besides what is happening back home. So we'll see what he's going to do tonight.
Look, we have to circle back to the big question here, and I want short and brief answers. I didn't put on this costume for nothing, guys, so I'm going to judge you guys on your answers because I'm burning in this costume, by the way. You can see me shining here on the left-hand side. Quick one, who is winning the tournament? I'm going to start with you, Christina, because I've already got you here, and I'm going to give you a guilty or not guilty verdict. If it's guilty, that means you're way off, and you are never coming back to AFCON Link Up. If it's not guilty, then let's go. Quick one. Quick, give me one word answer.
With what I've seen, Morocco.
Morocco. Okay,
Yes.
not guilty. Let's go on to DK. DK, who's winning this tournament?
I actually want Ivory Coast to win it, but realistically, it is looking in Morocco's favor. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm Team Ivory Coast.
You're giving us a wishy-washy answer. You, John, we know you are guilty. John, you're next, brother. Who's taking this tournament?
I'm joining DK and I'm going to go with Ivory Coast all the way.
Ivory Coast. Okay, because yours is straightforward. Not guilty. Do we have pitch invaders in the courtroom? Who else do we have here? Pitch invaders, is they still with us?
I'm in good company. The fact that DK says it, man, I'm in good company. I'm sorry. Ivory Coast is winning the AFCON. I think Amadi Yala might get playing the tournament if they do. I'm sorry.
Not guilty. Do we have men's versus John still on the line?
Listen, I'd like to say something. Can I speak?
Guilty. Whatever you're going to say, guilty. Whatever you're going to say, guilty. there we have it. This is why I called it guilty before he even spoke. We've got our team in Studio 6 getting ready for the build-up, ready for the action. And remember, wherever you are, whether you joined us from YouTube, from Facebook, or from TikTok, just know that we're bringing you all the action right here on SuperSport, your world of champions. You can see Teko Modise in the car. Oh, guys, I wish I could be in that room actually right now. It's so serious. The Grey Boss is also in the cut. But from us, AFCON Link Up, let me know Sam and everybody on the panel. Good day, good luck to your team if you're still in there. This is the family meeting. AFCON Link Up, baby.
Get so much more this January. Save up to 40% with ShopRite's unbeatable back-to-school deals. Swipe and save on Stettler retractable wax crayons for only $52.99. A Scholar exercise book for just $4.99. And heavy-duty polythene rolls for $12.99. Get so much more with up to 40% off on back-to-school. Only at ShopRite.
I love trying to get faster. I love the tech behind our racing.
It's definitely going to be a long holiday.
Brought to you by Toyota. Lead the way.
Wait a minute. Why they in their feelings? Let's go.
And Ogianobi with a brilliant game tonight, caps it off. AD finishes. And he dipped into his pass. Draymond Green takes one.
Live on your World of Champions. From the shimmering shores of the Red Sea and the ancient port of Yanbu, the sands of Saudi Arabia rise once more, calling the fearless men and women who dare to take on the ultimate test of endurance. An all-new 8,000-kilometer route, 13 punishing stages, over 600 competitors across 7 categories.
Tell me, how is this possible? To hate it and love it.
All chasing one dream through towering dunes, rocky mountains and winding valleys, where masterful navigation, stamina and pure steel determine who will prevail. Dream, dare, live it. It's the Dakar Rally on SuperSport, 3rd to 17th January.
You need to be the strongest. Only maybe.
You can win the Dakar.
Broadcast brought to you by Toyota Gazoo Racing.